All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So obviously, there's been a certain level, a significant level of interest from the Jets organization in a couple of free agents. Number one, linebacker Quan Alexander, who the Jets actually worked out before the draft, and the Jets, as we all know, didn't go out and draft that linebacker. Right? We passed on a couple of really good ones multiple times, which is totally okay. But it just goes to show, hey, maybe Quan Alexander might be in the plans. And then player number two here. A player that was Adam Schefter actually reported yesterday, a guy who has been visiting with the Jets for the past handful of days, defensive tackle Larry Ogunjobi. Now, in the case of both players here, and I'm not just saying this for the sake of this video, but I feel like both players would be key additions to this Jets defense. I'm not saying it'll push this, push the league's worst defense a year ago to being a top five, but I feel like both or either one of these players would definitely make an impact for a multitude of reasons. Number one, they both fit the system. In the case of Quan Alexander, coming in as a weak side 4-3 linebacker, I think it's really important. CJ Mosley, we all know what he's capable of, coming off a fantastic season. Quincy Williams, strong side, outside linebacker, but weak side. Yeah, we do have a couple of young players on the roster in Najral Dean and Sherwood. That's awesome. I still feel like the Jets coaching staff feels good about those young players, but it's better to cover all of your bases. It's better to, have that insurance policy. And Quan Alexander is, even though he's not, 36 years old, he's still a veteran in this league. He's seen a lot of offenses. He's coming off a really good season in my book, right? 50 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks in 12 games. 8 of those were starts. He signed a contract last offseason with the Saints. 1 year, $1.1 million. And you got 8 starts. You paid $1.1 million and you got 8 starts out of a guy who wasn't bad. That's incredible value for the New Orleans Saints. Okay, so he can still play. I know he's dealt with the lower body injuries. I get it. I know he might not be here for 10 years, but I think Quan Alexander, him being a veteran, him knowing the system, him fitting the system, him coming off a solid season, I think he would be that extra help, that extra veteran help, that veteran leader on the defensive side of the football. Also, Saleh has identified Quan Alexander in the past as a more than capable player for his style of defense. Obviously signing him to a mega deal back when he was in San Francisco as defensive coordinator. Okay, so I think Quan Alexander, look, if the Jets could land him on a cheap contract, man, honestly, I know this might be considered a little bit of an overpay, but if it takes 1 year, $3 million, right, more than double what he got paid last year, I would be okay with it, right? News breaks 20 minutes. Jets signed Quan Alexander, 1 year, $1.5 million with incentives that can make it go up to 3. I would be totally fine with that. If Quan Alexander doesn't work out, if he misses time, if he isn't productive, the Jets are only out $1, $2, $3 million 1 year. Like it's not that big of a deal. I think it's a low risk, high reward type of move here. I really don't see a significant downside or anything that would really hurt the team. It's like, he would be coming in, probably going to be an upgrade. If he isn't, then hey, we're in the same exact position that we're in right now. As far as Larry Ogunjobi is concerned, this guy, man, you want to talk about coming off a good season, started in 16 games last season, had 7 sacks, 49 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback hits at 28 years old. I mean, from the defensive tackle position, those pass rushing numbers are up like that. Those are really good, right? We're talking about defensive ends out there that don't record 16 quarterback hits in a season. Larry Ogunjobi did it. He's played for the Bengals. He's played for the Browns. I still believe his best football is ahead of him. And if it's not, if he could just duplicate his performance last season, that is totally fine, totally acceptable. That's an upgrade. Okay, that is an upgrade. I'm looking at Larry Ogunjobi right now. Stacking him up right next to Quinn Williams, having 2 pass rushers on the outside. I think if anything, the numbers would probably go up, assuming he would be getting the bulk of the or the majority of the volume at one of the defensive tackle positions. Again, Saleh does like to flip these guys in and out, always having fresh legs, fresh bodies in the trenches here. But look, this was a guy that was coveted by a lot of teams out there, reached an agreement with the Chicago Bears. It was a 3-year deal, I believe, worth over $40 million. So big time money. Not a Quan Alexander situation, 1 year, $2 million. No, not in the least. this guy can play at 28 years old. And by the way, I appreciate you letting me know why Ogunjobi failed his physical. It was because of his foot, okay? That was something that I didn't really know much about. Before making that video, I knew he failed the physical. I just didn't know what was the actual cause, okay? So, it's out there now. If Larry Ogunjobi is ready to go, if he's healthy and he could pass the physical, of course it all comes down to negotiations, contract, how long is the deal going to be, how expensive is the deal going to be. I think if the Jets can get a team-friendly contract here, man, to land Larry Ogunjobi, one of the top free agent defensive tackles at the start of free agency, not just now, we're in May now, we're talking about adding a day one starter, a day one upgrade in May, after the first couple phases of free agency, after the NFL draft. That would just be incredible value. It almost kind of reminds me of Morgan Moses last year. We signed him in the summer, and it wasn't really expected. Like Fant, Becton, kind of our go-to, and then rumors started coming out that hey, the Jets were actually interested in Morgan Moses. He still hasn't been signed, and then all of a sudden it got done. Okay, so kind of a similar situation here, not perfectly similar, but just getting a huge impact, a big name this late in the process, I think would be key, right? I think it would be huge for this Jets organization. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. Who would you rather want, Quan or Larry? I would definitely say Quan is a lot cheaper, and I also think weak side linebacker is probably the bigger need at this point. Also, what's happening with John Franklin Myers, I would assume he's moving back to the inside. The Jets also brought in Solomon Thomas as well. So we do have some depth. We do have some guys with high upsides in the trenches for sure, along, of course, with Quinn Williams. But weak side linebacker, it's kind of, I don't want to say a shot in the dark, but it's a little bit more of an unknown position just because of the youth there. So anyway, let me know your thoughts. And as always, thanks so much. Go Jets.